There is no wrong emotion. There is no wrong sensation. Human life can be very painful. I'd imagine we've all felt that pain. We are living on a planet that has been steeped in war and many forms of violence and abuse for millennia. Most of our ancestors were traumatized in one form or another, and that pain and the momentum of those karmic inheritances lives in our bones, lives in our cells, and we are presently being invited, I would suggest. There's an ever-present invitation to begin to reverse those millennia of momentum through awareness, and and that is no small task, because it involves literally peeling back so many layers and leaving no stone unturned as we endeavor to bring loving awareness to all aspects of reality, of being, of ourselves. It's a very deep journey. And again, it can be very challenging. A lot of pain and challenging emotions can occur, can come up. And one of the deepest tendencies that we have as human beings, in our culture at least, is to make certain emotions wrong, certain sensations wrong. Oh, I shouldn't be feeling this. I shouldn't be experiencing this pain right now. Maybe someday I can heal or awaken or transform, and then I'll be the person who doesn't feel this. And so we place our fulfillment and our dreams, our aspiration of healing or awakening on the horizon, on some ever receding horizon. We often do this unconsciously. We don't realize the degree to which we're carrying this deep, deep unconscious resistance to the present moment, and a deep, often unconscious belief that the present moment is not enough as it is. The present moment needs to change. We need to get somewhere else. The present moment is not enough in some way. And this is one of the most fruitful areas for investigation, in my experience, after many years of deep journeying in the realms of healing, transformation, and awakening. It's really worth looking at that belief that something is missing in this moment, or that we need to get somewhere else, because it can completely shift your orientation toward everything. If you really start to deeply internalize that there is no wrong emotion, there is no wrong sensation, however this wholeness of now is showing up, however it's shining forth, that's it. That is the ocean. That is freedom in a profound sense, expressing itself as whatever it happens to look like. And if you look closely at whatever that heaviness or that emotion is, if you close your eyes, for example, and you go into it, you go into it with a sense of HD clarity. You're almost zooming in on the naked vibratory sensations of whatever that emotion is. You'll notice you've never experienced it before, and you'll never experience it again. You'll discover that there is this continual dynamism where whatever the present sensation is, it is literally vibrating and undulating through itself with an infinity of subtlety, an infinity of detail, an amount of detail that cannot be captured or pinned down or encapsulated. And it is shifting in every moment. It's not the same from one moment to the next. So there is this continuous dynamism, or what the Buddha called impermanence. And if you go deeply, deeply into that impermanence as a moment-to-moment reality, you know, usually we think of impermanence in this kind of more abstract way of like, oh yeah, someday the trees won't be here, and someday my house won't be there anymore, someday my body won't be there anymore. I guess it's not necessarily abstract to say that, but it's a more far removed form of impermanence. It's like, oh, maybe someday I'll experience impermanence. But you are experiencing impermanence right now, in every moment. You've never seen this moment before. You've never seen me in this particular way. You've never felt yourself in this particular way. The room you're in has never looked precisely this way to you. The way the light is playing upon the curtains, the way the dust has accumulated on your desk. Different details have never been in that precise configuration. And there's a deep shift that can occur there, because usually we don't attend to that level of impermanence, even though there is this total dynamism, even though experience itself literally never stops changing. If you look closely, your entire field of awareness is a vibratory field of continual percolating buzzingness. You know, you can't really say what it is, but you can notice this if you just close your eyes and you feel your body and you feel that dancing aliveness within the body. There is this kind of, again, undulating, percolating, vibratory quality, this buzzingness, this aliveness, and it's not standing still, is it? It's continually morphing, it's continually shifting. Similarly, if you go into the light dancing immediately behind your eyelids, or in the space we would usually think of as behind our eyelids with our eyes closed, you can notice unimaginably intricate, unpin downable patterns of light energy, light information, continually dancing, morphing, shifting in the space immediately behind the eyes. And good luck ever trying to say what that is. You could write a million treatises about one moment of it, and you wouldn't be able to pin down what that infinity of light, information, and detail is. And before you could ever hope to pin it down, it's already something else now and now and now. You know, this becomes very clear with the light behind the eyes example I find. If you just look at that, it's obvious that there's an almost, not an almost, there is an infinite degree of pixelation, a non-finite, unquantifiable degree of detail and pixelation there. And it is continuously morphing and shape-shifting into fathomless patterns, patternless patterns of strangeness, and we don't know what that is. You usually just write it off as, oh, noise in the machine, some kind of function of my optic nerve or something. You know, we assume the scientists have figured it out, but nobody knows what that is. Nobody knows what anything is in a very, very deep sense. As Carl Sagan put it, in order to bake an apple pie from scratch, you must first invent the universe. In order to truly say what this is, something we would usually just say, oh yeah, that's a stick, I know what that is. But do you really know what it is? Because the stick could not exist without the tree, and the tree could not exist without the earth, and the earth could not exist without the galaxy, and the galaxy could not exist without the cosmos, and the cosmos could not exist without whatever the mysterious substratum is that exists as and holds everything, this infinite energy, this infinite oceanic wholeness. And so in order to truly say what this stick is, you would have to actually say what this total infinite mystery is, this totality, this vastness. Because the stick is not separate from the vastness. The stick is a function of the vastness, an emanation of the vastness. It came forth from the vastness like a wave on the ocean, and it is the ocean. So to say what anything is, you'd really need to say what everything is. And I would suggest to you that no one can do that, not because we don't have sufficiently sophisticated instruments yet to be able to measure it and pin it down, but because it cannot be pinned down. There is an intrinsic quality within this nounness, within whatever this is, that prevents it from ever being pinned down or encapsulated. It is unpin downable, you could say, or trans-pin downable, beyond what could be pinned down. It is inherently and fundamentally mysterious, And this type of thing becomes apparent in direct experience when you, for example, look at that dancing light behind the eyelids, or you just really notice the taste of chocolate or the taste of a slice of pizza, and you notice how it doesn't just have one taste. There's a continual morphing and shifting, and it's an effulgence and an explosion of richness from all angles, dancing through itself, continuously gyrating, morphing, shifting dynamically. And those might be some of the spaces where it's easier to notice, but as you start to notice this, you can notice that it applies to the full field of experience. If you look closely at anything, if you look at your hand for 5 minutes, your hand's going to start doing a whole bunch of weird morphy things. If you look at your face in the mirror for 5 minutes, your face is going to start doing a whole bunch of weird morphy things. But even if you just look at your hand for a moment and you really look and you really open yourself to the level of detail, you can notice that it doesn't stay precisely the same from moment to moment. Of course, through a scientific lens, we have this understanding that what you're looking at is mostly empty space, and that there's atoms and electrons and whatever else continuously bouncing around. But even without that more zoomed in microscope perspective, can you notice that, for one, your hand doesn't sit completely still. It's moving, like your body is likely slightly moving, at least microscopically. But on top of that, the subtle coloration of the hand, the subtle way the light plays upon the hand, is not sitting completely still. And really the whole field of vision, if you look very, very closely, it all has this buzzing quality that it's easiest to see if you close your eyes and look at the space behind the eyelids. You see these infinite degrees of patternedness, these infinite degrees of pixelation, morphing, shifting, and dancing. But if you look closely at your hand or at anything, you find that same phenomenon there. You find it in the field of sound, you find it in the field of touch, you find it in the field of smell. You find it in every sense field that we arbitrarily designate. You know, we use categories to divide everything up and claim, oh yeah, there's the field of vision and the field of sound, but really there's just one continuum of buzzing, vibratory aliveness that includes all the different sense fields we usually acknowledge, and includes vast bandwidths of other sense dimensions that are not usually acknowledged in the kind of default paradigm. You know, whole vistas of subtle vibes and revelatory and mystical and astral and strange phenomena. I mean, it's possible to have experiences as a human being where you literally feel like you've died and the universe has died and everything has completely dissolved into a field of pure, vibrating, infinite light, love, intelligence beyond all reckoning, or even a sense of dissolving beyond that into a spaceless space of pre-vibratory stillness, just utter and total purity beyond all description. And all those different sense dimensions are all present here now. It's just a question of what are we tuning into, you know? These dimensions of subtle vibes and mystical phenomena, revelatory and samadhi and cessation type of experiences, they're all literally present right now in and as this mysterious field of nowness that, again, we don't know what it is. So there are vast vistas of this vibratory field that are outside of the usual bandwidth of perception that most people live within, because our society deeply conditions us to pay attention only to a very narrow bandwidth of perception. And even that bandwidth, we don't really pay attention to it. We really kind of dumb it down in a sense. We layer it with all of these conceptual overlays such that we turn it into something mundane. Like, oh yeah, this is just a forest, these are just trees, this is just a stick, this is just a pine cone, I'm just me, life is life, whatever. And it's like, no, no, you know, look around you. No one knows what this is. What is going on here? This is not just a tree. It's a textural experience, an effulgence, an anomalous, enigmatic gesturing that is presenting itself or imposing itself upon apparently some floating field of lucidity, some form of lucidity, some form of clarity, some form of awareness. And, you know, again, we usually really dumb that down and we just say, oh yeah, I'm a human being and, you know, somehow my brain has awareness and I'm just looking through my eyes right now and this is just another day. But if you start to go to the direct experiential reality, things get a lot weirder really fast. I mean, you can notice, for example, that the past is nowhere to be found, the future is nowhere to be found. It's always only now. You never actually see your own head unless you're looking in a mirror or looking in a camera, looking at your reflection somewhere. Your actual experience most of the time is more like like if you look down, you see, you know, what appears to be a body, and otherwise there's just this kind of space of pure openness where phenomena are kind of kaleidoscopically moving and morphing around. And the continual dynamism, the continual impermanence becomes even more clear if you're on a train or you're going for a walk, and you can really just look at how everything is continuously melting away all around you. And where does it go? Where does it go when it melts away? You know, we usually think, oh yeah, you know, that's just in the past now, or that's still there, I'm just not seeing it now. It's still somewhere over there. But do you actually know that? What is the empirical fact of your experience? And I'm not even trying to make any metaphysical claim now about whether things are still there when they're not in our immediate awareness. I'm just inviting a looking at the direct empirical fact that we really don't know, because you've never stepped outside of your immediate experience, have you? You know, look for yourself and see. This is an invitation to look for yourself. This is not a dispensation of dogmatic beliefs that I'm asking you to take on. This is an invitation to explore freshness, because this moment is fresh, this moment is new, this moment has never been seen before, and it's utterly astounding, and we don't know what it is. And going back to the very beginning of this video and how this all connects to like, oh well, yeah, that's all fine and good, but I feel like shit right now. What if I'm having a shitty day? Then the invitation is to get curious about that. What does that actually mean? I'm having a shitty day. Maybe you are on some level, but that's an optional story that you're latching onto that's then coloring your whole experience. What if you go into the detail more? What if you pick up a pine cone and you just stare at it for minutes and just let it reveal itself to you as a pure mystery? I mean, there's a tiny mushroom growing on this pine cone. It looks like something from another planet, and it has almost a snowflake-like pattern on the underside of it, and there's something that looks almost like seaweed growing here on this pine cone, and oh, that looks like possible bird defecation or something. Probably don't want to touch that. And there's a tiny insect crawling on the pine cone. And you know, the gist of what I'm saying there is that you're locked into a story that you're having a shitty day. Meanwhile, an infinite mystery of richness is exploding forth all around you at all times, and you have the option always to redirect attention away from a little kind of pity party story of, oh, my life sucks and I don't feel good right now, and you can just redirect it toward freshness. Go to immediate experience as a mysterious wellspring of bizarreness, of strangeness, and bask in the weirdness. Get curious about the weirdness. Let yourself be seduced by anything and everything. Go stare at a cloud. Go hug a tree. Go look at the sky. And that can really start to open something up, because so much of our pain and suffering in this life comes from being locked into these very small stories that we grab onto, that we fixate onto, that we get really stuck inside of, where we're like, things are definitely this way, and I'm holding it so tightly that it's definitely this way, and because it's so tightly this way, I have to feel really bad about it, because this means that I suck, and I'm an idiot, and I messed up, and I did the thing again, and I'm no good. And do you know that any of that is really true? Can you be absolutely sure that those stories are true? What are the unexamined beliefs that are underlying so much of your suffering? And are you sure that those are true? And are you sure that those are even a big part of your actual experience? Or are they just like a tiny little piece of dust going on at the level of mental activity? Meanwhile, there's a shebang of cosmic nectar literally presenting itself to you as a vista of pure gorgeousness, as a pure Monet hyper fresco, a Michelangelo at all times hyper immersive tapestry of immediacy, and you are that tapestry. Everything you've ever taken to be yourself is that tapestry. And who is the one truly witnessing that tapestry? Is it just you as a small being in a monkey suit? Is this phenomena of apparently all-encompassing continuous lucidity really just localized here in the brain? Is it just an emergent property of brains? Or is there a field of lucidity here that goes beyond what a finite brain could produce? Is there a field of lucidity that when you kind of drop back out, in a sense out, it can then go back in too, but there's a period of time where it can be helpful to almost feel like you're stepping out of the world and stepping into this transcendent witnessing consciousness. And when you start to learn how to just rest as that pure awareness, that pure consciousness, you can discover a level of repose, of neutrality, of all-embracing light shining as that pure consciousness. And it's ever present. It is the light of your own experience right now. It's what is illuminating your experience right now. Look at what is looking. Look at what is looking. You know. Yeah, like Meister Eckhart said something like, God is the one who looks through my eyes. And you don't need to take a pointer like that and concretize it into like, oh, okay, I need to have a new dogmatic belief system that God is like looking through my eyes. It's just like, it's a pointer that can be an opening. It can open something. You can be like, wait, what is me? I've taken myself to be this small skin encapsulated monkey ego, this kind of homunculus living inside of this monkey suit, kind of pulling levers and moving around. But is that really what I am? Is that all that's going on here? And is it possible that that way of seeing, that belief is actually causing me to feel like a perpetually afraid and insecure and unworthy slave who has to jump through 8,000 hoops to maybe someday be enough? Is it possible that I could start to question my deepest assumptions and identities, and I could start to experience life freshly, not from a place of adding new spiritual beliefs, but from a place of subtracting beliefs, identities, and ideas, and seeing what remains. What remains when you're not believing anything? What remains when you're not believing anything or identifying as anything? Things start to get really, really interesting. And this is kind of the good news, that when you do this, immediate experience starts to feel less like a cage where you're a small being in a giant cold void, and you've got to hunker down and straighten up, put on your costume and go check all these boxes, and what does this all mean? And it starts to feel more like, whoa, I don't even know what I am. I don't know what any of this is, but it's juicy, it's effulgent, it's luscious, it's rich, it's dripping. There seems to be an infinity of artistry all around me that is greeting and pummeling and wamboozling awareness continuously. Wow, can I just drink that in? Can I get a little bit drunk on astonishment? And you start to discover that there is when our fixed beliefs and ideas about what this is are relinquished, we start to discover this intrinsic primal quality of this nowness that feels like wholeness, that feels like rest, that feels like repose, equipoise, intrinsic enoughness, intrinsic overflow, intrinsic plenitude. Nothing missing in this moment. This moment is complete. And you don't have to turn this into a new belief system or a new metaphysics, and yet you can begin to have a very deep emerging sense in your heart and in your experience that it just resounds experientially to the degree that it changes you deeply. And it doesn't matter if it's codified as a belief system, because you're just like, whoa, life is good. I trust life. I can trust life. Life is complete now. Life is okay. I don't even know if I'm really here anymore. I seem to just be this space of vastness where everything is percolating and occurring of its own accord. I can just be still and everything continues to happen. Life is doing itself, no maintenance required. There seems to be an unimaginable intrinsic imagination and intelligence at play within this hyperfield of dimensionality, texture, and artistry. I seem to be utterly at one with this oceanic artistry. I am this artistry. This artistry is me. I am the ocean. The ocean is the wave. And the intrinsic experiential quality and flavorfulness of this kind of direct noticing is kind of like the proof is in the pudding type moment. The experiential quality of this is one which really, really deeply feels like life is affirming and confirming to you that yes, it is an infinite, transcendental, loving intelligence. You are a child of that intelligence. You are an emanation of that intelligence. And you are that intelligence. You just purely are that field of indestructible light intelligence. You are beyond birth and death, beyond time and space. You will exist for all of eternity, which is beyond time and right now. Eternity is now. This is totality now. If you're touching any part of the ocean, you're touching the whole ocean. And there's just this sense of vastness and a melting into what feels like a direct confirmation of experiential truth. And again, it's really lovely that this doesn't need to be codified as a belief system. It doesn't need to be turned into a new dogma. You know, that's been the historic shadow of a lot of religious systems, is that they're always based on the direct realization of some great sage or mystic who realized transcendental vastness right now as an experiential reality. But then the words of that great sage, mystic, seer, or avatar are then codified and believed in as a dogma, and they get heavily misinterpreted. As soon as you believe in a statement as a dogma and you feel like, yes, oh, it's this way, yes, it's just this way, and we fixed it down, and you know, yes, there's this one way to truth, and we found it, we have a monopoly on it. You know, that's not that misses the mark. That's coming from a sense of fear and grasping. It's not coming from the direct openness to vastness. And then it propagates itself as neurosis within that religious system. And very often, tragically, it has led to many people killing one another just because those, you know, they're killing people who have other religious systems or who don't align with their religious system or who feel like a threat to their religious system. So yeah, it's very sad how that happens. It's also understandable, and I don't condemn it, because there's this deep mystery of karmic proclivities unfolding as they will. There are these deep cycles of separation and unity, forgetfulness and remembrance that seem to present themselves within the deep time of what feels like an ultimately timeless emanation of pure infinity. There are these deep cycles, and for whatever reason, this transcendent intelligence, this field of now, seems to have a propensity for going on these kind of grand, hyper-Shakespearean journeys of looking at itself from infinite angles, forgetting itself from infinite angles, and playing every role in an elaborate theater play of epic proportions, only to then eventually remember itself time and again. And, it seems to be exploring itself through this and to be learning deep lessons through this about what is possible to learn through journeys of sacramental incarnation and apparent separation and forgetfulness. And who knows what this is all driving toward, Sometimes I've had very deep feelings that it's all driving toward some kind of apokatastasis, to use the ancient Greek word, a universal redemption, universal salvation, universal liberation, where everything is subsumed fully back into the inmost burning heart of grace, the inmost burning heart of God, and we all utterly and fully return home to pure and total God realization and God remembrance. Who knows? Maybe that's happening right now as well. Maybe on a deep level, apokatastasis is every moment through a great paradox. Maybe the pure sun of apokatastasis, universal liberation, is always ever presently shining and just simply seems to be veiled by these wispy clouds of Maya, these clouds of essentially concretized beliefs, frozen belief systems that lock us into small boxes and prevent us from opening to vastness, opening to radiance, opening to the diamond heart of Buddha nature, of Christ nature. And who knows, maybe there will be some eventual moment of total salvation, total liberation, total redemption beyond what could have ever been imagined, and we'll all be subsumed into a completely unthinkable heaven realm, and we'll abide there in a state of unheard of repose and peace and love and harmony for endless eons, until the moment where this totality, our heart of hearts, spontaneously chooses, we all choose spontaneously once again to, well, maybe let's have another mega cycle of incarnating as infinite universes of forgetfulness and remembrance. That was kind of fun. It was pretty intense, but it was interesting, and we learned a lot from that. So who knows? But again, the nice thing is, you don't have to know. In a way, non-knowing is the deepest freedom. When you're free from grasping after beliefs and feeling like, I need this crystallized, fixed, frozen belief system in order to feel okay. What if you just pop that bubble? And the belief systems crack like an egg on top of your head, and the yolk just runs down, and they just dribble and drift away, and you let the light in, unadulterated, unencapsulated luminosity of pure vastness. You let it in through the crown and through the heart, down into the solar plexus, down into the belly, down into the root, down through your legs and feet, and you kiss the earth with every step. as all of this old karma and density leaks out of your body down into the earth, and you gradually experientially feel more and more like pure light, pure radiance, pure luminosity. What if? What if? So essentially all of this is to say there's a different way of living life. There's a different possibility available, an unimaginably simple freedom that is ever present in your experience right now. I did happen to write a book about this at one point called Simple Freedom, so feel welcome to look into that if you're curious. It's a short book of poetry. And yeah, there is a different way of living life, a different possibility, and it begins with opening to immediate experience as a finality, as an end in itself, not as a means to an end. We're so habitually conditioned to overlook the now and just see it as a means to a future end that never arrives. Allow the now to be felt as an end in itself, however it's showing up, even if it's showing up as heaviness and grief and hardship and density and caramelized, guttural, swampy flavors of stuckness. I've been there. Trust me, I've wallowed in the mud plenty, my fair share. Had my child heart shattered in this lifetime. So I'm there with you, and I feel sincere and honest compassion for what you're going through if you're going through something really hard. Insofar as it's possible and accessible for you, allow even the most difficult sensations to be seen as an end in themselves. Get curious. What are they really? What are they really? Very likely the stories you're telling about them are perpetuating the suffering. Drop the story as much as possible. See the immediate experience as a kind of sacramental emanation of a kind of living poetry, a living fresco of vibratory nature that you've never seen before. Go into the vibratory nature. Feel your feelings in HD clarity as deeply as you can, as a living, percolating artistry, and notice that you've never seen them before. Notice they only exist in this moment now. Notice they vanish in the moment they appear in a profound sense. What has appeared is already gone, now and now and now and now. Notice the instant refresh rate. Notice the dynamism. Noticing that openness begins to bring the openness into whatever the feelings are. It reveals the feelings as pure openness. So that can be one mode of working with pain. And if that is too difficult, if that feels impossible, another option is to, in a sense, literally distract yourself. You've probably gotten locked into a loop of bodily sensation and mentalization, storytelling, that are feeding upon each other like a demon gnawing upon your body, and you need to break the loop somehow. You need to go to the moreness and otherness. Notice that your immediate experience is always more, vastly more and other than whatever you're currently locked into. Whatever you think it is an inexpressibly narrow bandwidth of what it actually is. So, open to the vastness. Gaze upon the sky. Stare at a tree. Stare at a wall. Stare at your dog. Stare at your cat. Open to these experiential realities as freshness. Drop the labels. Let them be a pure mystery. Let your cat be like, whoa, what is this alien jaguar feline spirit that has somehow imprinted itself upon immediate wavy weirdness right now? How is this ancient Egyptian meowing spirit like gracefully drifting through this aura right now. You know, these are ways that I can point at what experience feels like as you increasingly cease to label it. As you increasingly drop the labels, so much frozenness and mundaneness melts away, and the living river of endless fluidity and enchantment is revealed. We've been born into a living river of endless fluidity and enchantment, and it's here. It's available. Feast your eyes upon it. It's simply what blocks us from seeing it is all of our fixed, frozen, crystallized ideas that say that we already know what it is, but you don't know what it is. So throw those in the dumpster fire, open to vastness, be with anything and everything as a living vector of astonishment, a living channel of grace, inexplicable artistry, and let that seduce you. Let that seduce you and open you to vastness, unpinned down ability, freshness, wholeness, texture, artistry. Start to just let yourself be with immediate experience as an end in itself, and this will gradually completely reorient your way of relating to life. It's cumulative over time. It accumulates, and you gradually cease to endlessly live in the past and future and in abstraction, and you start to actually be rooted on deep, visceral, many-dimensional, textural, tactile, multi-sensory levels in and as this big bang of freshness now. This now as the razor's edge of billions of years of timeless time of cosmic artistry ascribing itself upon freshness, like writing on water that is just being scribed and then dissipating. You've never seen this moment before. This is the juice. This moment is the juice. This moment is the whole point. It's the whole point of life. It's all we have. Have you ever seen anything other than the now moment? Really check in. Has anything you've ever experienced occurred anywhere other than right now? So if you're going to find the treasure, you're going to find it now. Look for it now. Don't look for it somewhere else. It's here. It's with you. It's your heart of hearts. It's your heart of hearts. It's your inmost wisdom, your inmost light of Christ, of Buddha, of Lao Tzu, of Anandamayi Ma, the great mother, the great father. They're with you always. They hold you. They enfold you. They hold you in their arms. Like the purest child of grace, you are so loved. You are eternally loved by this nowness, and it's trying to reach you. It's trying to reach you. It's tapping on your window. It's patiently waiting for you to remember that you are held, and you can rest here, can rest as now. You are not limited to being a human being. You are the ocean. You are the cozy omni blanket of pure grace resting within itself. Let yourself feel that. Let yourself be held by love. Thank you for listening. Family, much love to you. God bless you. Be well.